The show's about to start.
Come in, dear.
Let's get ready to shake, rattle, and roll with Graceland Glamour Girl, the one who puts the CC in rider, Miss Cece Glamour.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth season of the Glamorous Pink Writers podcast. As usual, I am your host, Cece Glamour, and we have the most amazing guest today. So I'll let her take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharon Puchot. I am a vintage content creator. I also am a model. I'm an actress, and I work for a vintage reproduction brand called Freddy's of Pinewood. And I guess I could categorize myself into the old Hollywood era, Victorian, and a glamour ghoul era when it comes to vintage. So
That is all different stories of vintage that I am like super into.
it's amazing.
It really is. So tell us a little bit of how you got into vintage, but then also modeling as well.
Oh my God. So I'm from Mexico originally. My mom's from Venezuela. So whenever people ask me where I'm from, I always tell them Mexican Venezuelan because I grew up with both cultures. But I guess I never really was into vintage. I think it's because culturally, like whenever you would watch an old movie, they'd be like, oh, it's just costumes, right? So when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I can't wear it because it's costumes, right? So I guess I was always lingering into like English literature as a kid. I loved reading when I was a teenager. So I really got into the English like literature world, Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. And then I started getting more into old movies because my grandma loved old movies. And I remember I was 15 and I watched the movie Sabrina, but the 90s version of Sabrina. And I loved the story so much and I just adored the whole thing. And then it said in the credits based off the original film. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll watch the original. Watched the original with Audrey Hepburn and completely fell in love with her, fell in love with the film. It rocked my world. And then I sort of became obsessed with Audrey. And the next film I watched was Breakfast at Tiffany's. And that was like, that changed everything for me. I was like, that's how I want to look. That's how I want to dress. And then it wasn't until I left Mexico to study in the UK in late 2017 that I was able to sort of be by myself, be free, and kind of explore who I was when it came to style and fashion. Whereas before, you couldn't really dress like that. There's not a thing as like charity shops, vintage shops. It's not a thing. Usually, you just get it from new shops or whatever is trending. So I didn't really have like my own voice when it came to my own style of how I wanted to be. But at least I had a good base. Of the movie stars that I saw. And then came to England the first time. And I remember going inside my first vintage shop. It was in Oxford. And I just felt like a high, like a certain sense of euphoria. Like I felt like I was in a museum. But the best part is you can actually take the stuff from the museum. And so I was like, whoa. And it smelled of old, but I loved it. And I was just like in there for hours. I think I remember. I can't remember what the name of the shop was, but oh my God, that was like my origin story. And then from there, I've been sort of figuring out my style from 2017 up till now. But I would say where I am now is what my style is. Like, I think it's taken me all these years. I don't know how many years, 18, 19, 20, 21, like, yeah, like 7 years to figure out my style. But I sort of dabbled on everything and then figured out here where I am is me.
I am glad. Of course, I saw a lot of your pictures on Instagram and they are like amazing. I have loved
Thank
every last one of
you.
you. But right. What are some things that people actually don't know about you that you would love for them to know?
Well, they don't know. I have a degree in musical theater. I can sing, dance, and act ever since I was little. I trained in Mexico. I took dance classes since I was 10. I did ballet, jazz, contemporary. And then that's why I came to the UK. I came to study musical theater. And so I was sort of trained as an actress first. Modeling was like, I guess my first photo shoot, I was 13, but I've never done like a professional, like, well, to be fair, now I have. Now I've been paid professionally. But back then it was like they were shooting my mom because my mom used to be a model when she was my age. So I sort of knew photographers and then they would take pictures of me. But I always liked being in front of the camera since I was little. I was like, again, like a theater kid. You know, you love like, and so every time there was a camera nearby, I would always be like posing, like 3, 4 year old. Like I was just like ready to dance. If there was ever like music, I would dance. If there was ever like singing stuff, I would sing. And then for modeling, I just loved dressing up as a little girl. Like just I wore pink. I don't wear pink anymore. I just do not like pink. But as a kid, I was like a Hello Kitty girl. And like I had a whole room full of Hello Kitty. But then I also really liked watching horror. So I was like this little girl dressed in pink and then watching horror films, which is like the strangest combination. But I was very much into like girl empowerment and like all these things, like the Cheetah Girls. I was obsessed with when I was little. It was crazy. But then I also liked Tim Burton and like the old horror films, and so I got into that very very young. I don't know if you know like Courage the Cowardly Dog
Yeah.
and like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, like all of these TV shows that were traumatizing as a kid. I was like,
Like, yes.
I love it. But then I also want to wear a little pink dress and go out as a princess. So
I get it.
that was
That's
just,
me.
I swear. And to this day, oh, that's another thing. Fun fact: my mom calls me Wednesday,
Us too.
because I was such a weird child. So I guess that's another fun fact about me. I guess I was into horror. Now I'm showing it much more than I used to, but yeah, big weirder horror girl. Like I think I watched The Exorcist when I was 10 and I was laughing the whole time. Because it looks so fake. Obviously at the time it must have been traumatizing. But for me, like having seen everything that we know now and then seeing that, I was like, or even with, with Chucky as well, I was like, that's not scary. Like
That is one movie that, like, okay, so I did watch it I finally did get to actually watch Chucky. I did. I watched it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. But like, I had a fear of them because growing up, I had dolls that would actually talk by themselves without the battery.
oh
That's
no.
why. But like, I understand. We're like, oh yeah, watching The Exorcist. Mine was The Shining as a kid. Like,
Oh,
I loved The Shining.
oh my God, The Shining.
My mom did
That's
not like showing me The Shining because I sometimes, and I still do it to this
oh
day,
my
show up at her
God.
door and be like, come play with us. It's like, go. Go.
Oh my God. No, I don't even know what my introduction to horror was, but I do know that my favorite horror film of all time is Alien. And I love that film because of my mom. And my mom doesn't like horror at all, but she's a big fan of the Alien Predator films because that's around her time. So I saw Alien when I was little and it was amazing. And so to this day, my mom will never watch any horror movie with me unless it's an Alien or Predator film. I swear, I don't know why, but she just like my whole lores of Alien is because of her. And like, but it's so strange because I'm the only person in my family who loves horror. Oh, another fun fact, I love theme parks. I'm an adrenaline junkie. Is that the word?
That's
Like
the
I want to go bungee jumping. I want to jump off a plane. I want to do all those things. My parents have done that. But whenever I go to a theme park, no one like likes it. I seem like I'm the only one that likes going on the roller coasters, that likes to get shaken and moved. Like I got on like those those on Six Flags, they have like the slingshot.
yes.
I did the slingshot. It was amazing. Like I love it. And no one else in my family likes like roller coasters or theme parks. So whenever I'm at a theme park, I'm like a child. I'm like, yes, let's do it. I'll
I,
even dress up as a character I like. Like if like right now with the whole Universal and the Dark Universe that just came out. Oh my God. I was so jealous. I was like, whoever goes there, they have to dress up. Like I would dress up as Victorian. I already have some clothes in my closet. I would go on the rides and I would just be like having the best time of my life, scare me. Like I love haunted houses as well. They're amazing. I love getting scared. I'm just like, yes, let's do this. Well, everyone else, like I always seem to go by myself. So no one will go on them with me. I don't know anyone in my close like relationships that want to be scared or want to go to those sort of things. And so I'm the only one that likes it for that reason.
I like I won't do roller coasters because I don't like the drops, but everything else, like I would like here in Georgia,
Yeah.
we have Catwoman's Whip, which is like it's almost like a Ferris wheel, right? But like you're in an individual seat,
Yeah.
and it starts off this way, and then it starts to go this way, and you're just in an individual. It's I'll ride that I'll ride. I'm the type of person that will go like we'll have what is it called? Fright Fest. I'll go to Fright Fest dressed as like I would be dressed vintage, but dressed as a vampire to go interact with
Yes.
characters.
Yes, exactly that. And that's another thing. Touching on the vampires, I loved vampires, werewolves, and mermaids as a kid, but I like the sirens. I like the darker the better. And I don't, this is so like cringe to say it now, but like when I was a kid, I had all the Twilight books. I had all the Twilight books. I was a big fan of the film when I was a teenager. And like I read this werewolf book called Shiver
I
from
remember.
Maggie Stiefvater. I think they're taking the series now, but I read the books, loved all anything like werewolf, and then mermaids. I was obsessed with mermaids. When the Pirates of the Caribbean, the fourth film came out, I lost my mind. Like I was that kid that would do like spells in the tub, like with the water. I don't know if you know about that, but like it was such a big thing. So I would get because I was born in Cozumel, which is an island in Mexico. So I always grew up around beaches. So I moved around a lot as a kid, but we were always in the beach side because my parents chose it. Now they're in Mexico City. So I think after the age of 13, I was living in cities officially. But before then, it was like beach everywhere. We would move. And so I was always able to access ocean water, sand, seashells, and I'd put them in the tub to become a mermaid. Or like, because I was like, I was born in an island. I'm from the beach. I have long hair. I'm pretty. I want to kill seamen. And like, that's my vibe. And I wanted to be a mermaid so bad. But it was just one of those things you just do as a kid.
No, I wanted to be a mermaid as a kid, and now I'm a professional pirate for the Ren Fair. So close enough. It's
That's sick. That's so sick. I'm jealous. My husband is obsessed with pirates, so obsessed that like he wants to do the Jack Sparrow tattoo. He has a tattoo on his arm, but they're like the SpongeBob flowers and like the ones on the sky. He loves SpongeBob. He loves anything like nautical or like sea. Like he has books about like I don't think I have it here, do I? But like books about like the history of pirates and like nautical stuff. So I don't think he knows how to like go on a boat, but I'm sure with everything he's read, he would know where is what and
for
like what's the
everything.
name of. Yeah, well, he's from Clacton, which is like the seaside in Essex in England. So he's been around the beach. His life is the same as me, but I'm not as obsessed as he is. But it's weird. Like he has like the bandanas and he'll tie them here or like tie them on his wrist or like anything nautical. He also has like a steampunk like pirate coat.
Yeah.
Because like my husband isn't as into vintage as me, but he does grab some things that are vintage elements. So he'll watch a movie and then he'll say, "Wow, he looks great," and then he'll find something similar and kind of put it. So his style is like a cowboy, pirate, steampunk because he likes a bit of Victorian and like 1940s war wear. So think of that, but then he also likes Hawaiian shirts, and that's quite 50s and 70s.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm the other way around. I'm like super dark. I like dark colors, and he's like, I want to wear a Hawaiian shirt. Again, very tropical, very tiki, very
Yes.
summery, seasidey vibe. And then he has like his 70s aviator glasses. They're tinted like orange. So
I can
so it's a weird mix. Like it's
in a way, no, in a way I get it because I love a lot of 40s fashion. I do have a lot of Victorian and 18th century for doing historic reenactments. And
yeah.
then I also have like a lot of 80s. And then there's a slight, it's not a full collection yet. Then there's a slight collection that I'm doing of women Elvis jumpsuits, but that's because I have to perform in them. So it's like it's a whole th oh yeah, it's
That sounds so fun.
It is. My fashion goes from like they're like 40s, 50s, and then you start going, okay, there's 50s Elvis female recreation outfits. Like there's like a little bit of 60s, and then you'll see jumpsuits. I'm like, don't worry about those. If they have to get rhinestone, don't worry about those, okay? Just walk past and then it's you have robe à la française. Yes. I've got
Why
to
not?
catch them. Oh,
But that's the great thing about vintage. You can jump to anywhere you want to. Like there's not one specific you have to stick to. At least for me, like I did narrow it down a bit because, when I had to figure out my style, which took years in the process, it was me figuring out like something that like the first thing you think about in your closet. What's the first thing you grab? You know what I mean? And so for some reason I started out with a lot of pink because, when vintage girls start, they always go to the 50s, like pink girls and like that. So I realized when I wore it, I looked great. I just didn't feel like myself. And I was like, okay, this is not me. But everyone was like, wow, you look so good. So I sort of felt like I kept it because people say I looked good. And don't get me wrong, I look good in color, but I didn't feel like
that
the
was
character I wanted to be. And so I started to then notice patterns, like what things I was instantly attracted to. Like I love bows a lot, but like classy bows, not like girly bows, like
yeah.
classy bows. I like stripes. I like polka dots. I love ruffles, but like the Victorian like ruffles. Love that. And then I started going into fabric. So I love tweed. I like silk. I like satin. I like velvet. And then I just started figuring everything out. And then once I sort of compiled everything, because I had a notebook where I wrote everything down, I was like, okay, this is very dark. And then once I realized how dark it was, I was like, okay, so no pink, no color, because what's the point in getting something if you're not going to wear it, And then once I figured my style out now, when people ask me, I tell them, okay, so think if Audrey Hepburn, Marlena Dietrich, and Morticia Addams had a child, that's me. So you have the classic feminine, masculine, European, but gothic.
a little bit like
So,
vampire.
yeah, but I wouldn't say I'm goth, and that's something that I feel like I always touch in with people. Like I wouldn't say I'm goth in the way that it's mainstream now. Like I don't wear chains, or I don't have black lipstick. I don't wear piercings or tattoos. I'm much more of like, and not even rockabilly, because there's the gothabilly
Yep.
style. I'm not a rockabilly girl. I'm more of like the elegant, dark, sophisticated style of gothic. So a bit more of the romanticism. So what people would actually wear like in films. That's why Morticia, she's just elegant, because that's just one straight dress. Nothing like, and it's timeless because Morticia Addams was made in the late 30s. The Addams Family, made by Charles Addams, in the late 30s. So it's all the clothes is very much influenced by that decade. And then when the 60s TV show came out, again, still elegant. The suit that Gomez wears is very much a 20s suit. And then with the movie, same thing. Same clothes, same outfit, still the same decade. So it still sticks to that sort of era of goth, I guess you could say. It's really hard to explain to people, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't have chains. I don't have boots, leather boots I don't have the Doc Martens. I don't wear chains. Like nothing that you can associate with like this sort of typical goth style. Mine is like that. You get me. You get what I mean.
It's the same thing, but like with me doing like with loving like the rockabilly clothing, but also being a pinup and also loving more of the glamorous sides to things is really
Yeah.
funny. Because when you are, for example, in the pinup in rockabilly scene, a lot of the women have tattoos and I come and I show
Yeah. Like when you see it, like what it is.
yes, and
Like
then I
when you
show
talk
up and
about
they're
it.
like, and then I show up and they're like, and I go hi, and I'm like, I'm a rockabilly and also a glamour.
Yeah.
I'm also like the glamorous pinup, but also technically an Elvis pinup, but also, and they're like, where are your tattoos? I'm like, I don't have any, but I'm here, and I'm over here like, I'm here, and everyone's like, okay.
Yeah, no, same. Or for me, I've been told a lot, which is the signature name I call myself in general on social media, is the femme fatale. So whenever someone sees me, they're like femme fatale, and I'm like, cool. So at least that is,
Yes.
and femme fatale is very much film noir,
Oh
and
yeah.
we're talking like 40s horror and like, but still elegant. And I was like, cool. Well, that's basically me, still with
Yeah.
the spooky, still with the spooky stuff, but you know, still in the elegant, like a murderess, like in a murder mystery, like Agatha Christie, like she's in this long dress and she's like, I didn't kill them, but she looks very sus. But you know, who knows? She could be the murderess, maybe not. But that's the vibe, like gown, like the one I'm wearing now, walking down the stairs,
Yes.
you know,
That is
and
like
then she just
it's
grabs the knife and then just stabs a heart or
yeah.
something, and then all the blood's on her, and she's like, "Oh God, that ruined my makeup." What?
I'm like the best way. People are like, how do you describe your style? I'm like, so have you ever seen Debbie and Adam's Family?
Yes, yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
me.
Yeah, exactly. And then people are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then, but then when I add Victorian into it, um, they're like, okay, so which decade do you focus on really? And I'm like, well, old Hollywood and Victorian. Those are the ones I jump. And also the clothes is very similar as well. They have waistcoats, they have suits, they have, you know, the blouses, the certain like ruffles and things. So there's still like elements of both in them and still with the same color palette. So it's not that strained from each other.
And like that's the best part that I love about the 40s, especially even with me doing it when I'm doing like different Victorian pieces or even just being like,
Yeah.
oh, you can change them out so nicely. But you can take a top that you
Oh
have that
yeah.
you might use for a more Victorian or Edwardian piece, and then
Mm-hmm.
you pair it with slacks, and people are like, oh wow, that's 1940s. Like, and then with me, I
Yeah.
just say thank you. So I'll go, actually, this piece is for this piece from like the Victorian of the 1910s. And I start going, no one knows what I mean. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least they sort of get the vibe, you know, which is what you just really want. Like right now, I'm wearing my Nosferatu locket from the film. This is a reproduction. So I was like, yeah, this is Ellen's locket, and it actually works. I need to put a picture in it, and then I have a 40s what Katie did silk gown, and then some basic like earrings that I got from a charity shop or something, and then that's it.
That
So it's giving
yes.
vampire.
Oh yeah.
I love the vampire aesthetic so much. Like I love it.
Like because
It's so good though. Like the when I see
everything.
someone dressed like it, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, you look hot. Like
I like that's I love it because I don't know where it is on my Instagram, but it's probably somewhere deep. And we did a Halloween pinup contest, but we also there's like several different versions. We did a promotional, they had another car show. So I have like this, it was really I had this halter top that was like a 50s halter top that I didn't know was like really cut low. I love
yeah.
the day wearing it. So I have vampire hair clips. So I put a vampire clip in the bow. And I had like a little sun hat that had the other clip in it, the vampire things on, pink slacks. So I just looked like a
Yeah.
vampire in the 50s who was having a vacation.
That's exactly it. I don't know if you saw a look I posted when I went to this event called the Car Boot Sale, and I wore this like red with black 1940s jacket with like a black skirt, which
I think I
had
saw
like we had like the bat brooch. So basically, when people ask me when about the look, I said, well, there's multiple things, but I was trying to combine who I was like as a person. So I was like, I love the Dior New Look. That's another fun fact. It's my favorite look of all time. Dior New Look 1947. Love that look, obsessed. So I did that. And then color palettes, I was like red, burgundy, or black. And they all have to go together. So I saw that jacket and immediately like the thought came in my head and I was like, so this is like if a vampire existed in the 1940s. And that's exactly what I did. And then people were like, femme fatale. And then someone said, oh, you look goth. Another person said Dita Von Teese. Another person said femme fatale. And I was like, yeah, basically all from the same thing. But that was my thought process. As a vampire existed in the 1940s, that's how she would dress. And that's what I did.
college. When I was in college, we had a Halloween party because Full Sail goes big on Halloween, which
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and so I was like, I was like, I want to do something different. So my friend gifted me it was a 1940s dress, and it actually kind of had like this USO feel to it. It looked like it looked very similar to Peggy
Ooh.
Carter's dress.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had that. I went to Spirit and I got like a Victory Roll wig and everything, and I had vampire fangs, and I made a whole entire story where I was a 1940s silver screen actress that was a vampire who would feed on Nazis because nobody wanted them alive anyways. So she figured why not feed on them? And so I had a and one of my teachers was a zombie 1940s movie director. And
Oh,
whenever people would ask me for a picture, the entire day I would go, please, no photos. I don't show up. And
so much. I love that. That's genius.
so people would come up to me and they would be like, oh, no worry. There are no mirrors in Canada. I have no mirrors in cameras. When did this happen? And then and so after that they would take pictures, and it was funny because I was like in character all day as my vampire character. And so I'm in the hallway about to return back to my class, posing like your usual 1940 silver screen actress and just hitting all the poses. And I was like, be sure to get my good side, which is my right thing.
Oh my God, I love it. That's genius. That is so good. Oh my God. See, this is literally me, but like in everyday life when like I sort of make up excuses, like two things lately. I love that sort of Italian like cross style, like the crosses. I think they're so nice, so elegant, definitely very tropical. But I always tell people I can't wear it. I can't wear crosses because I'm a vampire. The same thing now that summer's out. Everyone's like, oh, sure, and tan, because I'm Latin. I can tan in like 2 days. That's not my issue. I was like, no, because what if I want to do a Morticia Adams look? Or once it gets winter, if I'm tan, it's gonna ruin that. Also, I'm like a vampire. Vampires aren't tan, they're white. So I'm trying not to tan this whole time. I'm like constantly putting sunscreen on my face because I'm like, no, I'm a vampire. I can't tan. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. I want to look dead. That's the vibe. I just want to look dead. And so I don't buy crosses because I have that mental excuse. Because if I wear crosses, it completely will take away the idea that I'm a vampire. So
Like, and it's so, but that is like, it's really funny because people ask me, like, if you were a vampire, like, what type of vampire would you be? I'm like, so I'm a mix of like an Anne Rice vampire because, of course, me being Southern, but I'm also like a mix of like what we do in the shadows because they're all sharing one brain cell.
I love What We Do in the Shadows. I love that show so much. I worship Nausea. I just know if she existed in real life, we'd be best friends because she and I think so similar. And the fact that she's so spicy as well, like she's so temperamental. I was like,
I'm like, I love her.
bitch, I know, I get you. And like,
Like the thing is, like, as much as I want to say like me and Naja would be really cool, I think I would have befriended Vampire Elvis, who works in the basement of the
oh
hotel.
my God.
So that would be
Really? Vampire Elvis?
yeah. I mean,
He's your vibe.
he's my vibe. I mean, now no, because it's funny now. Like Elvis is technically my boss because I'm an Elvis tribute artist also,
Oh
and
my God.
which has been funny because now everyone's like, "How does it feel to have Elvis as your boss?" And I had to sit there for like 2 minutes going, "Oh my God, he's my boss." I'll get back to you with that. It's the one time you can say your boss is hot and you can't get fired because he's been dead for like 48 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically.
It's the one it's the one time where you can have posters of your boss and nobody says it's weird because also your fellow colleagues dressed as Elvis also have posters.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's
It's
so true. Oh my God. Have you seen the new Interview with the Vampire series?
I yes. I keep getting asked to cosplay Claudia, which I probably will, but like
He,
mentally,
I keep forgetting the names. I keep forgetting the names all the time. The main guy, not the asshole, the other one.
are we talking about Lestat?
Yeah, Lestat, not Lestat, the other guy. He's hot.
Lestat? I'm like
See,
that.
Lestat, okay, they're both very attractive. It's just Lestat is so problematic. He's so alluring, but he's so problematic. I feel like I would end up very angry at him.
I love him because
You do?
I no, because as a singer, but also as a fellow theater kid, when he went to the opera and he's like, no, because every I used to so I sing for Six Flags during the holidays, and they did a show that was like kind of based off of the show we did, but for veterans,
Yeah.
and it was World War II, and they had the main girl, and I think they were trying to base her off of how I did my character, so they were trying to base her
Hmm.
off me, and I felt like Lestat when he was in the opera, he's at the opera, and he's like. And I'm sitting like, I'm sorry, is she trying to be me? Because that's not how I do me. That is not how I look on stage. Is that how I look on stage to you? Because that is not me. I was Lestat in that very moment and realized this is why he's my favorite character because I
You understand that it ruins it.
yes,
Yeah.
especially when you're like he said he's like I was the original role. I'm like I'm the original role. Are you trying to be me? Because if you are, this is horrible.
He is savage. He's savage. To be fair, I can be savage, but like I felt bad afterwards and I was like, that's really sad.
He makes you kind of go, it's not that serious.
I think it's because like it's such an amazing thing why people love vampires so much is to me because there's so many different versions of vampires, but the one that logically makes sense to me is like if they've lived for hundreds and hundreds of years, I would find them quite elegant, quite eloquent, quite smart, very wise, but also like they must be sick and tired of everything because they see the same
Everything.
like history repeating itself again and again. They're like, oh god, another war, whatever. Like I'll still be here after everyone's dead. You know,
Yes.
like it's pointless. So that whenever I see them, I always think that they're dressed so elegantly, depending on what time period we're talking about. But like I don't see them as like the 80s vampires with like all edgy and stuff. I think they'd still stick to the timelessness of the clothes because they're never out of fashion. You know, like they're always going to come back and stay timeless, but looking quite sensual as well. Like they still have that little touch of like, I'm not showing everything, but like something enough to quite like entice you because that's what I want.
No, I just there's always a joke that goes around, especially with a lot of us vampire fans. And I always love when people are like, I can never understand a show where they'll give us a broke vampire. They're like, I'm sorry, if you've been alive this long and you are broke, you need to step into the sun. Just go ahead and step.
Yes, but you could even like hypnotize them to give you money. Or you could be like a fake prostitute and then like once they're about to get it off, you just hypnotize them and then just take their money and go. Or you could easily like rob a bank without actually hurting anyone. You just hypnotize the person at the bank and say, "Give me $10,000, please," and the person has to do it. And then you just tell them, like Nandor, like
It
you
never.
know, oh, before you are going to do this for me, like just like that. And there you go. You don't have to hurt anyone. You just have to like hypnotize them. That's it. Then you just walk off. Like I would be rich. Like I would have the sexiest coffin. I would have the sexiest house. And then like I would only get like quality blood, you know. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna be selective about who I'm gonna drink from, you know. Like I'm not gonna pick the drunk guy, fat drunk guy at the bar. Like, nah, nah, nah. I have quality, you know, like
And I think this is why we like Lestat, because this is exactly why Lestat does what he does. Like even in the original movie,
yes.
where he's like, where he gets mad at Louis because Louis like, "Hey, we can live over here," and Lestat's like, "I'm sorry. Out of all my years of being alive, I have never worked before, and I'm not going to start today."
Yeah. To be fair, yeah. I agree with Lestat and like the human stuff. I just feel like he just screwed Louis over so bad. I feel like that was so unnecessary. Like there's a way you can sort of be a couple and get through things. Like the human stuff I get, kill them, I don't care. But like with his relationship with Louis, like
It's just like,
it's like, bro, you turned him into a vampire. You're treating him like shit. Like what's the point?
and then he's like, "Hi, I went to France and I met this guy named Armand," and Claudia's like, "That's worse. That is worse." Put him.
Oh my god. I know. And I'm like, what? Make it make sense. Like, what do you mean? Oh my god, when I saw their house, I have a friend who was in a BBC show called Interior Designer Masters, and he is called Ben. I don't know if anyone sees this. Ben, he's one of my closest friends, and his whole style is vintage Victorian. And so I saw the show, And I told him I loved everything you did. And then I saw Interview with the Vampire. And I said, if I ever hire you as my interior designer, watch this show. I want everything exactly the way it's laid out. And I know that he would do an amazing job because he loves Victorian interior design. So I want my house to look like if a vampire lives there, like with the tassel lamps. I love tassel lamps. You know how hard I've been trying to find a tassel lamp that's burgundy with gold? It's harder than you think. Everything's color now. And I'm like, no, I don't want pink with green tassels. I want dark burgundy with gold tassels on the side. And it has to be very specific. And or like with a Tiffany lamp or an Art Deco lamp, it needs to be a certain shade of color. So I've been struggling for ages to find a tassel lamp that looks so good. But I love tassel lamps. I love like velvet things. I love like the old, like the sofa/bed, like sofa bed, the one that has like a little cushion.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I also love the talking like sofas, the ones that are like circular, like what is it called? Like a chatting sofa, talking sofa, something like that. Love those. Love them. And then I love anything that has like curtains and then they tie it on the side. Like a theater. Like I love that theater look. Again, as a musical theater girl, anything that's old theater. If I was rich, I'd have my own cinema and then I have everything look like a vintage theater. And then I've had like the classic popcorn design in the back and like have vintage posters around. And then tonight's horror night and then it's Frankenstein. And then we'll have like a bunch of, see.
It sounds perfect. This is actually the perfect way to wrap up the episode. And I would love to have you back to talk more vampires, classic Hollywood, and Victoria.
Hell yeah. We'll do a Halloween special or something for sure. Let's do a Halloween special.
As vampires.
I'll have some fangs. I need to get some customized fangs. I know someone. So I can get some fangs.
Well, it has been an amazing time to have you on the show.
I had so much fun. This is great.
And as we like to say, shake, rattle, and roll. Until next time. And now, our song of the day for our episode.
Well, when the sun goes down and the moon comes up, I turn into a teenage goo-goo muff. The city and I roam the streets, looking for something that is nice to eat. You better duck when I show up, the goo-goo muff. I'm the night-head hunter looking for some head with a way-out body underneath that head. Yeah, I'll get you, baby, with a little love, 'cause I'm a teenage tiger and a goo-goo bug. You better duck when I show up, the goo-goo bug.
The Glamorous Pink Rider podcast is proud to sponsor
Uptown girl, she's been living in her uptown world. I bet she's never had a backstreet guy. I bet her mama never told her why. I'm gonna try for an uptown girl. She's been living in her white bread world as long as anyone with hot blood can. And now she's looking for a downtown man. That's what I am. And when she knows what she wants from her time, and when she wakes up and makes up her mind, she'll see I'm
And don't
not
forget,
so
you can watch us on
tough
any network you
just
get your podcasts from,
because
such as
I'm in
Spotify, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Castbox, YouTube, all under the Glamorous Pink Riders podcast, brought to you by Cece Glamour. And remember, stay cool, cool cats.